Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome at Ali Dose of Inspiration. And today we have a special guest, and he is full of energy, full of passion, and he is ready to serve. Michael is an author of a lot. He is owner of multiple businesses, and he is here to share his passion with us. Take it from here, my friend, and welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Ali. Man, it is an honor and an absolute privilege to be here with you, buddy. And we're Canadians, like two Canadians here, but on opposite sides of the country, because you're over in what, Moncton, New Brunswick, and I'm in Vancouver, Canada, right?
Oh, nice. I didn't even know you are in Canada.
Yeah. I'm in Vancouver.
But okay, so you are far west and I'm in the far east. Okay.
Yeah. We're on what we call the best coast, Ali, the best coast.
Sort of. No. It's in my bucket list actually to go to Vancouver. It's a beautiful city. It's the
It
nation.
is.
The mountain city, yeah? The Rocky Mountain.
Rocky Mountain City, buddy. There's very few places in the world where you can ski, golf, and go sailing all in the same day, but you can do that in
Really?
Vancouver.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just remind me of Morocco. You can go to the beach, you can go
Yeah.
to the desert where it's so hot, and you can go ski in the city of Marrakesh the same day.
What? That is okay. So there we go. Yeah, I'd love it. I've never been to Morocco. I gotta go, my friend. But yeah, it is a privilege to be here to serve your audience and to help shake the cages, as it were, of mediocrity for them. And we might talk about pushing some comfort zones today and just really unlocking the vault of possibility for you. Right? For those that are listening, for those that are watching, my personal goal in life is to help unlock the vault of possibility for other people. And just let's go and shatter some glass ceilings, you guys. Let's just punch through some of the gilded cages that we sort of lock ourselves into, because we can do anything we want to do, man. Anything we want to do.
Beautiful. I really like that. When you believe, you can achieve whatever you believe. As long you just don't talk it, but you believe it. It has to happen. And
Absolutely.
That's the mindset, eh?
Yeah. Well, it was funny. I was actually working with a coaching client this morning, and she was challenged with a limiting belief about how many clients her business could handle. And we talked about it. And what's funny about that is that her limiting belief, like her belief that she couldn't handle more clientele, was ruining her marketing. It was ruining her profitability. It was really tampering on her whole life because she couldn't grow, right? And it was funny because that was exactly what we started to talk about, Ali, is that you're never going to outpace your beliefs. You're not going to outpace what you believe to be possible. So you got to get rid of that stuff, or else you'll just keep repeating it over and over and over again, right?
Exactly. So I know you mentioned you are a coach, Michael, in this, and you are working with different clients about how to unlock that. And a lot of people, they feel they are lost. A lot of people, they feel like they have a lot of dreams they want to achieve. What is blocking them? What is that block?
There's a great quote by Jack Welch who says, "If you don't define your destiny, somebody else will for you."
Wow.
And I think a lot of people decide that what they wanted in their teens, what they wanted when they were younger, is a really big mountain. And they go, wow, I don't know how I'm going to climb this. So they shrink down what they believe to be possible. They shrink it down to something that they can see the results of. But let's be honest, Ali, that's not why we're here. We're not here on this planet to live small, right? We're not here, and I don't mean by running $1 billion company. I don't mean anything like that. Your version of living huge could be being the most wonderful, like, look at my shirt. Like, my best day, like the best job I have is being a dad. I have a 2.5-year-old son. He is the light of my life. That's my biggest job every day, is being a great dad. If I'm a great dad today, I don't care how this interview goes, to be honest. It's okay. Like he's my priority. You know what I mean? So it doesn't always have to be about accomplishing something so astronomical. You leave such a huge footprint in the world that everyone will see it for miles around. It's really about defining what you want. And we give that up so easily, it seems sometimes, because we just buy into what other people tell us we're all about. what other people tell us is possible. I have this saying, and I don't know if you've heard this one before, Ali, but I say, never let your responsibilities dictate your possibilities.
Wow, I love that. I'm going to write it. Never let
your responsibilities. Never let your responsibilities dictate your possibilities. Because that's what happens, right, man? Like, you know, as a young adult, maybe you buy a house, so you've got a mortgage. You might start a family. I started my family late. I'm 40 years old, so I started my family a little bit late. But a lot of people, they get married, they're having children, they're in their early 20s, or they spend a bunch of money, they get a degree, they've got all of these debts, they've got responsibilities, and suddenly they shrink what's possible in their life based on how much debt they've got.
Definitely.
You know, I've got a nephew, and he's 19 years old, and him and I were talking not that long about going to school. And I said to him, well, it shouldn't be about whether you go or not. It should be about where you go. And if that takes you 5 or 6 years to figure out where you want to go, then that's cool. Like, take your time, because the worst thing you can do is make a bunch of decisions that are going to cost you money today, and you're mortgaging your future. Because, you know, in Canada, at least, for us, at least, student loan debt, you can't get out of it.
Big time.
You declare bankruptcy, it doesn't matter. Your student loan debt stays. It's a debt to the government. So you can't, there's no way to get out of your student loan debt. So for me, I took out $60,000 in student loans to get a degree. And in the end, that degree has kind of helped me at times, but it's one of those things where I look back on it and I go, man, I could have used that $60,000 to do something else, you know, probably because it probably was $100,000 by the time I was done paying the interest. Mm-hmm. And so we got to be careful, right? So don't let your responsibilities dictate your possibilities. So even if you've taken some responsibilities, like probably a lot of your listeners have, they've got stuff they're responsible for. Don't let that shrink down what your possibilities are. Let those responsibilities inspire you to take bigger steps. Find the nooks and crannies of your life where you can pour your energy into there and discover a brand new version of yourself. It doesn't take a ton of time. It just takes persistence and discipline to start to change who you are.
I love that. You just said something that's really amazing, something that's a lot of people need to discover. And each one, they are on a different journey. It doesn't matter how long it takes you, as long you are satisfied with what you want to do. If you're happy with it, satisfied with it, and you feel it is a passion that feed your energy, that feed who you are, that is what you are. A lot of people, they just see what people think about them. And Liz Brown said, don't let somebody else's opinion be your reality. And a lot of people, they just say, I need to be this because the society wants me to be this. I want to be this because my friend wants me to be this. But it takes them years, it takes them money to discover that all that they were doing, they're just doing it for somebody else. We are created unique, not a copy. And the copy word the original word more than a copy.
Way more.
Way more, my friend. And discover is the key. When you discover who you are, you serve your purpose and you serve your intention.
I think, Ali, there's a joint thing that happens there, because you said discover your purpose. And yes, I think there's an element of discovery there. But one of the things that I warn a lot of my coaching clients about is discovery is a word we're looking to explore. We're looking for so often discover for a lot of people means they're looking for something outside of themselves. They're on a journey. They're on a quest. They've got to go somewhere, discover something new. But one of the recommendations that I make is stop discovering only. Start choosing. Ali, you didn't discover that you wanted to help people and inspire them. You've chosen that as a field.
Definitely.
Right? Like in the end, we discover, like, stuff bangs into us, right? You go, oh, that's a cool Les Brown video, you know, because you and I both love Les Brown. We take private coaching from him, which is incredible, isn't it? That stuff is awesome.
Yeah.
So, and that's how we know each other. So we bang into stuff. right? We pick up that book. You've got one of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Bleep in Behind You there, right? I know Manson's work. Mark Manson's amazing, right?
Beautiful. That's the one
Yeah,
about
there he is.
yeah.
Yeah, great book, right? So, but we bang into stuff. If we're open and we're on receive, we're going to bang into stuff. So part of the discovery is just being aware, I think. But then what it comes down to is you can discover all you want to lead, but in the end, you've got to frickin' choose.
It's all about the choice, my friend. Eh?
It's all about the choice. And that's one of the things that we cover in Unlock is it's not about discovering your personal journey and your quest. It's about freaking choosing it. That's the dragon I want to slay. That's it right there. That's what I'm going up. That's the princess I want to save. That's the prince I want to rescue. That's what I have 17 options. That's the one I choose. Right? So sometimes I think the idea of people can spend a lot of their lives in discovery mode. So but living a life full of happiness and living a life on purpose, living a life that's fueled with passion, you need to define that. You're not going to accidentally stumble into it. That's not going to happen. Right? There's a friend of mine, she works in hospice. So she works with a lot of people who are in their final days. And she says, most people, almost all of them, regret the regrets. They regret the things they didn't do. They regret the choices they didn't make. They regret not choosing door A or door B and just sitting in the room instead. They regret those things. They don't regret the choices. They never regret the choices. They regret not making them at all. And I've known a number of people who have gone on deep explorational journeys and they're still stuck. They have tons of knowledge. They have lots of ideas. They go, oh, I could do this or I could do that. You probably know these people. They're the could-haves, right? I call them the could-haves. I could have done that. I could have done this. I could have. Yeah, but now it's 30 years later. You've done none of those things because you never chose. So discovery is a little dangerous. And I think we got to just, we got to warn people going, you can't discover your whole life. I mean, you can be discovering your whole life, but discover on purpose. Dive deep into something, right?
Beautiful. I really like that, Michael, because it's all connected, and that will bring us back to people being stuck or being lost. And I will share with you that all my life was evolving around the 3C. The 3C that I was always wandering between those 3C. Make a choice, and you mentioned that.
Yep.
Make a choice to take a chance, so your life can be changing. And if you don't make that choice, if you don't make that decision, I have a lot of friends that 6-7 years, they are saying the same thing to me. We need to do this. We need to start this business.
Yeah.
We need to and they still, did you start this business? They still, oh no, I didn't, because they are doing calculation. They are thinking on the how. They don't even think about the why. So when you have the why, it doesn't matter the how. Just jump to it. And that is my philosophy in life. If I have something I want to do it, I jump to it, then I will learn how to do it after. And it's been working for me. Just like jump into the ocean and you don't know how to swim. Then you have to figure it out. Otherwise you are going to die.
Yeah.
That is how it is. So decide to choose, because that's a big decision. If you don't choose what you want to do, you are not going to meet that chance. And if you don't meet that chance, your life will never change. You will be among those 7 years people that be repeating the same thing over and over.
That's right. Yeah. Those people that get stuck in limbo.
Stuck in limbo.
Right? I think that, so if, Napoleon Hill, you probably are familiar with Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich. He talks about drifters. And he talks about the fact that the worst thing we can be in life is a drifter. Just somebody who is not heading anywhere. You're in your sailboat and you're just being buffeted around by whatever breeze shows up, right? And you're just being blown this way, you're blown that way. You just don't have a destination, right? And I think so for me, that's what one of those big parts it comes down to, is that a lot of people want to achieve success, Ali, but that's all subjective. Right? That's all subjective. But we don't want to define success for ourselves. We get scared of that because we might not be hitting it right now. We get scared of that because we might not achieve it. Heaven forbid, right? Like, but those things scare us, and a lot of people are scared of pushing themselves. Our fear comes in because your subconscious mind wants to keep you safe, right? We got some deep primal wiring in here still, right? Like, we have a lot better tools and information and knowledge than when we did, millions of years ago when we first started walking around. But the fact is we still have that primal wiring that wants to keep us safe, and we have to overcome that to achieve the best version of ourselves. And you got to choose to take those risks. And the worst thing that happens is you pick yourself up and you dust yourself back off. Walt Disney himself failed 7 times. He went bankrupt 7 times. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times in attempting to create the incandescent light bulb. So it's not about failure, and nobody cares how many times you fail if you succeed. Nobody cares.
Definitely. And the problem, Michael, I like the way you put it, and I like you mentioned how like people fail, but at the end they achieve success. But a lot of people, they are not afraid to fail. They are afraid so people judge them. They are afraid that people will call them loser. They are afraid that the society will look at them different way. But when you embrace failure and look at the failure as a success itself, then you don't care. You will fail in purpose because you will learn from it. And I was at that boat. I was like afraid to fail. I was afraid not to do mistake. I was afraid to ask for help. But when life knocked me hard, I hit the rock bottom, and I realized that nobody cared when I hit the rock bottom, because people will just look at you like, yes, that's when you are on the top. But when you are at the bottom, you discover just the real one that will be there standing with you on your side. Then I realized life is very simple. We just treat it very simple. Live positive, don't complicate things, and do mistake, because from mistake we learn. Fail, because from failing we achieve success. If you get rejection, that means you've been chosen from God. God chose you and give you rejection, so he give you a redirection to your purpose. And that's the way I see it. And since I embrace that, my friend Michael, I'm not scared of failure. I used to be afraid of things, and now anything that I'm scared of, I do with the first thing. Anything that I feel that's facing me and I'm afraid of it, I start with it. So that way, at least I'm not afraid of it. And that's my philosophy now, and I go with the flow. And it's been a blessing from God.
Absolutely. I was coaching a client last night actually, and she was talking about how her competitiveness is getting in her way. She's like fiercely competitive, and it's preventing her from taking. She wants to win every time. Like she just wants to. Like she has to win every time, and so if she doesn't succeed, then she's really beating herself up over that lack of success. She's really good at pushing herself. She's not afraid of failing, Ali, but she is, well, I guess to a certain degree, she is afraid of failing. She's afraid of losing. She wants to win. And she has older brothers. She's been super competitive her whole, like it's built in, just built in, right? And what's interesting about that is that she wanted to get rid of that competitiveness. She's like, I can't be this competitive. And I thought, man, that gives you an edge. Like if you're a competitive person and you're listening to this right now and you're like, yeah, but I don't like to fail. I don't like to lose, right? Good. Having a chip on your shoulder is powerful. Like I'm all about using anything you've got to push yourself. There is, I don't know if you know David Goggins at all, but he did incredible endurance athlete. He's done a bunch of death races. He's the only human being right now in history that's done the Army Rangers, the Navy SEALs, and the Air Force. Oh, what is it? I can't remember right now. No, he's done. Oh, Ironmans are easy for him, but he's survived. Like for the U.S. For the Navy SEALs, it's called Hell Week. right? And they put you through like a 7-day, I believe it's 7 days of, it's awful. Like what they do to the human body is terrible. But at some point you're using your teammates as camaraderie to get through. At some point you're using, you know, affirmations to get through. At some point you're visualizing a positive outcome. But at some point you're like, to hell with you, you SOB, you are not going to stop me. I will survive this. You got to use everything you got. If you talk to the Richard Bransons of the world, the Tony Robbins of the people that have created massive change, Henry Ford, right? The chip on their shoulders is profound. It's massive. There is a big, huge, you never get to tell me what I'm capable of. So competitiveness is powerful, but you have to use it helpfully. For her, she was using it as self-abuse. Right? She was turning it around and going, you failed, so you're bad, and whipping herself, right? Like beating herself up. Because then once she beat herself up, she energized herself, she got all angry, and she came at the next problem. But if she didn't succeed, she'd fall right back into beating myself up again, right?
Okay.
And it's one of those things that, so as a competitive person, if you're listening to this right now and you're like, okay, I get this, you guys, but I don't want to fail. Like, I am not interested in failing ever. You have to remember that being competitive doesn't mean you always win. You know, we're in Canada. There's 31 National Hockey League teams. We're big Stanley Cup fans here. I'm a Vancouver Canucks fan. They're in the playoffs right now. They play tonight, in fact. And the fact of the matter is, 31 teams, only one ever wins the Stanley Cup. But do you think all those other players that don't win are all going, yeah, I'm a loser? I visualize losing? No, of course not. Just because you don't always succeed doesn't mean you can't be competitive, doesn't mean you shouldn't visualize success. It just means that's your journey.
Definitely, Michael. I like that, because each one, they are in a certain level in their journey. And when you compare yourself with others, that's a big torture to the self, a big torture, because if they've been in this journey a couple of years and they succeed, they start to reap the fruit from that, and you just start and you be hard on yourself. Why can't be like Michael? Why can't be like that person? But that person, did you see how many years he put? Did you see how much sufferance he suffered to be that? So it is all about it's all about determination. It's all how you see success, how you see failing. Because when you mention the competition, standing in your own way, I think that's the way I see it. It's almost part of ego and selfishness, because I want to do this, but if I don't get it, if I don't get my way, my ego become like I destroy my. But that's not healthy. Competition is good, but when you fail, you don't feel bad, but you learn from that failing and you change the strategy and you come stronger than the way you were before that failing.
Absolutely, Ellie. And I think we have to remember one really important factor. Pardon me. Hang on a second. Is that success is temporary. Success is temporary. But your attitude, your passion, those things are lifelong. You know, success is temporary. If we go back to the Stanley Cup thing, one team wins, so those 25 players get to celebrate for a few months. Then it's over. Then they play. Then there's a whole new season. You know, success is temporary, you guys. So if your desire is to be successful, that is a temporary achievement. I would encourage you to desire passion, to live fully, to be present in the moment, to practice being your best self. But that requires, as we were talking about at the very beginning, choices. Right? I've got my dad life shirt on here, right? I'm not accidentally wanting to be a great dad every day. I'm choosing to be a great dad every day. Some days I succeed, some days I don't, I'm sure, right? But the fact is that I don't, there is no, I achieved it and it's done. That's not the way it works. Being a great parent and a great dad is a process. It's a lifelong journey. It's me dedicating myself to, being whatever he needs in that moment, and being present with my son and my family. It's not about I achieved, I have $1 million in my bank account, or I was nominated for this, or I won this award, or I won the Stanley Cup. That doesn't define success, because that is a temporary achievement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so for those people that are competitive, the person you're competing with, and this is to be so cliche, it's yourself. You have to outdo what you did yesterday. And if that never means you win the Stanley Cup of your life, as it were,
Mm-hmm.
who cares? You were on a journey to be your absolute best self. So that's about choice, Ali. You got to choose to define what you're looking for as those things. What you're looking for is like, when I choose to be a great dad every day, it's about controlling my frustration with him. If he's 2.5 years old, he's going to push my buttons, but controlling that, not losing my temper, right? About cooking really good meals, because my wife works a lot of nights. She works in the restaurant industry, so cooking good, solid meals. It's about playing with him instead of just flicking on YouTube and like, these are the things that define. Just because I did them yesterday doesn't mean I don't also have to do them again the next day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I really like that, Michael, because success is not something permanent.
No.
It's something temporary. It's something, and each one's success means something different. For me, I'm the same thing. I'm a big on the fatherhood, or on being a good dad, because what make me happy is just see that smile on my son. Just see that the first thing, 5 o'clock in the morning, you are sleeping and they are sneaking in your room, giving you a big hug. Those like a feeling that $1 million won't pay for that feeling.
No.
It's huge. Like just like my son come beside you and give you like unexpectedly a big hug and tell you you are the best dad ever. That's just, and my son do that like often. He just say, "Come, I love you, dad, so much. You are the best dad ever." Those feeling, that's success to me, because I don't know if you watch Steve Jobs, the last one. He achieved everything. He reached everything, and what he said really stuck with me and grabbed my attention. He said, like, it's not about the money. It's not about all. He said, I have it all, but all I'm listening to now is that the machine at the hospital, all the people, that stuff. I regret spending time with the family. I regret spending those moments, creating memory. And since I heard that speech a while ago, every moment I capture it. Everything I do with my son, I take a picture with it, because I know one day it will be for him to look at it. And that's for me, that's success. That changed my life. And I just shared with you earlier, Michael, I used to be like always busy, chasing money, everything. And one afternoon, one Saturday, was a nice sunny day. Me and my son, we went to ice cream, and they went to bring the money from the ATM. I was holding $20, and my son, he didn't say that toward me, but he mentioned, he said, unfortunately, there is so many people, all they worry about money. All they worry about money, not their family, nothing. That's all they worry about. And I was like looking at that $20 and looking at this 3-year-old voice, this wise word coming from his mouth. And I was just going to leave that $20, go with the wind. They said, go away, money. I want this moment with my son. And we got that ice cream, and that changed my life. I said, you know what? I will spend every moment with this boy and be happy with him, and let money chase me. At least I will be happy in the core. In the deep of my heart, than chasing money and my family not getting enough of my time.
And I love that story, Ali. I love that story because it speaks about reinventing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you had to you reinvented yourself. You rejigged what your priorities were in that moment. See, and the thing that I love about it is that was a choice. You chose in that moment to reestablish your priorities, right? To go, man, it's not about making more money. This is about making more life, right? Mm-hmm. This is about being present with my son, right? Like I'm so distracted by this. So you made that choice. Now I'm imagining that in the weeks after that, in the months leading after that, you had to fight with yourself to keep reprioritizing that life, because it's not like your old life just went away. It's not like your old job just went away, but I'll bet you had to go, no. I'm not going to focus on this. I'm choosing my son.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'll bet that had to happen many times. Am I right?
Oh, big time, my friend. Big time.
Because it's the thing that a lot of people I find run into is they go, okay, I've made the choice. Why aren't things different? You know, I had that experience. I had that story. I had that moment in time that Ali's talking about, that pivotal moment. I've chosen something different, but I'm at work again. And there's work piling up and I'm busy doing work. Why is my life not different? Well, because you're not repeating the choice, my friend.
Like, exactly.
Just because you choose one thing, and that was one of the things that I talked about with a coaching client this morning. She was talking about the fact that, okay, she shifted a limiting belief. We reprioritized that limiting belief and we gave her kind of an affirmation style sentence to help shift this limiting belief in her life about her team and what was capable. Mm-hmm. And she said, okay, but now that I've written this, is this going to change? And I was like, well, no. Right? I mean, it's like you have to define the problem and give yourself a solution, but now you have to practice the solution. Like you can't just, it's not going to happen just because you declared it to the universe and now I'm going to go about doing my thing, right? It's not the way it works. You've been given a way of moving through in a different direction. You've been given a new path to walk. Mm-hmm. Now you must walk it. And that other path that you're used to, that's easy to walk because it's comfortable, that you're so accustomed to looking at, that's well paved because you've trampled that dirt for years. So it is a smooth path of workaholic and prioritizing money over family. And that's a smooth pathway to walk for a lot of people. That is not an Ali problem. It was a Michael problem. It's been an Ali problem. There's been hundreds of thousands, millions of people that have that problem. Still have it. Just because that pathway is smooth and easy to walk, right? It will continue to tempt you until, as our mentor Les Brown says, you get so far away from it, you can't even see it anymore. Right? He talked about that yesterday in that coaching that you and I had. He said, right, you get far enough away from the naysayers that you just simply don't hear them anymore. So I use the same analogy. I say you get far enough away in the woods from your old pathway, your beaten pathway, that when you turn around and you look, you can't even see it anymore.
Yeah. You left them far away. You left
it far away. And that's when you realize, okay, I'm now a different person. Right? I have people say, oh, you got to fake it till you make it. Right? And I hate that saying. That really pisses me off, frankly. I just hate it. So I always say, Ali, you got to be it till you are it. Don't pretend. Don't fake it. Be it. Are you as good at it today as you will be next week? No, probably not. But the fact is, if you want to be an Olympic swimmer, go in and start practicing like an Olympic swimmer.
Exactly.
Someday, maybe you'll wake up and you're an Olympic swimmer. Right? Yep. Don't pretend to. Don't show up to the pool and paddle around and go, whoo, I got in the pool today. Right? That is faking it. Right? Taking pictures of yourself swimming, right? Like that's BS. I'm saying swim the laps. You may not be able to do 100 right now. You might only be able to do 3, but swim the laps as well as you can, and then get in the pool again tomorrow and swim the laps and swim the laps and swim the laps. You got to be it until you wake up one day, look back, and you are it. Until you wake up one day and you're in those woods and you're looking at the path ahead and you're going, gosh, I've got to cut through here and I don't know how I'm going to get through this. That other pathway was so much easier. Where did it go? Holy shit. I can't even see it. Where did it go? Like it was right there 3 months ago. And now for me, I'll bet it's the same for you. Being a dad is an easier choice. You know, it's taken me a couple years of making him a priority, but it's an easier choice now than it was 2 years ago.
Definitely. It's a daily thing.
Yeah.
It's a daily thing. You feed your mind, you feed your belief, you feed everything to make it happen. And I just want to go back to something we covered a lot of good things, Michael, and I appreciate your presence. You're full of wisdom, my friend.
Oh, my
We
pleasure.
covered the discovering, we covered choice, we covered chance, we covered the
Yep.
possibility,
Yep.
we covered a lot.
For sure.
But did you notice since the COVID-19 hit, did you notice a big change? People mindset, people mentality. People will see things differently because everyone was just chasing things. Everyone was just like a hamster, run until they fall.
Yeah.
And they are doing the same thing. They don't have the meaning of life. They feel they have no purpose. They just go, go, go. But now a lot of people taste being home with their family. Taste, they sleep enough hour. They spend time with your kids. They eat healthy. They go
Hmm.
for a walk. So that will make a change in people. I talk a lot of people. They said my life won't be the same when this one is all over. I feel the freedom. I don't want to work for anyone. I want to work for myself.
Hmm.
What changed? It's bouncing back from taking something that was a bad hit or a big hit. So it's almost God sending this to tell us. Another question I will ask in a different way. Why, as human, we wait till something major, something big happen to our life, then we change? What?
Why does that happen?
Yeah, like why sometimes like a lot of people change their life if they lose someone, if they lose their father or their mother, or if they have like an accident or lose their
Yep.
job, and they have that catalyst. This is the moment I need to change.
Sure. There's a, I've studied the brain quite a bit and how it works and the different stages of it because I'm fascinated with human behavior, fascinated with it. And that comes out of my first career.
Mm-hmm.
So my first career in my 20s was as a professional actor. So that's what I did. I got a degree in it. I was in movies, I was in TV shows, I did commercials, I did lots of theater. So I studied, and for me, one of the fascinations about acting was just watching and studying human behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinated by it. So I've been studying it for, man, probably 25 years,
Wow.
learning about the brain and how it works. So there's a number of stages as we grow up that our brain goes through. And the exact time, like the exact years are different for individuals, but there's ballparks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, our brain gets really firmly set in stone by about 21 to 23 years old. If you notice, especially in the Western world, a lot of people choose what banks they use in that stage. They choose what credit card companies they use. They choose, so they start to become an adult and they choose all of their safety nets.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Happens all over the board. I still have the Royal Bank Visa card that I got when I was at the University of Victoria when I was 19 years old. Like I've still got that credit card.
Mm-hmm.
The limit is a little higher, but I've still got the credit card, right? So, but the fact is that happens for a lot of people. They define themselves. And that's really the final piece. So as we grow up, we get all the stuff from our parents and our environment, right? As we grow up, and then we get a whole bunch of stuff from our friends in our early adolescence about how to behave socially and all that stuff. We discover our sexuality and all these things, right? There's different layers of development of a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And the final layer is solidifying really our safety zones, our comfort zones. And that normally people do not move more than 50 miles away from where they lived when they were 21 years old.
True.
Right? They define their geography, they define their financial acumen, they choose career paths, they set it all up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then what happens is they go, okay, I'm done. Now I wait till 85 and die. Like that's basically what happens. They go, okay, here's the series of things. I will follow this pattern. Now, depending on what their parents did, there's all sorts of factors there. But from that point forward, Ali, I shouldn't say the only, because there's a very small percentage, about 3% of people that will use positive reinforcement, positive perspective, choices to change their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of my goals in life is to take that 3% and make it 10. Because 3 to 5% of people that want to actually raise their hand and say, I want to control my destiny in life, I'm not happy with my 21-year-old choices. I'm 52 years old. I'm not happy with that. I want something different. I'm 41 years old. I'm 32 years old. I'm 28 years. I want something different. The choices I made at 21, I want to change them now. I want to take that number from 3 to 5% to 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Because 97% of the planet makes those choices and they stay there, which is terrible to me. I think we have so much to learn, right? But what happens is the only way those people change from that point forward, for the most part, is dropping a nuclear bomb in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Is pain. Up until 21 years old, we make most of our choices based on pleasure.
True. I agree.
After that age, we make most of our big life-changing choices based on pain. There has to be a trauma for us to take a different, significantly different course of action.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Definitely.
And that's why that happens. That's why COVID's changing things. It's fear, right? Fear made everything lock down and change. And now inside that trauma, people are seeing a new route.
Mm-hmm. They're discovering a new life that they already have, but they would just like burying it. They were just hiding it. But now
they didn't want to even look at the door. They didn't want to open that choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
They didn't even knock. They don't even knock. Like they knocked the first time and they ran away. They don't even wait for someone to open the door.
That's right. They don't wait.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned about the pain, Michael, and people like we used to choose from pleasure. Now we start to choose from pain. But the problem, like pain happened to us or happened to most people, and a pain unavoidable. Sometimes something happened that you can't avoid it.
Yep.
Suffering is about choice, my friend. A lot of people suffer and they stay suffering and they choose to suffer. And I can tell you why. Because if you lose someone in your life, or if you did something that was bad and it's painful, but the sufferance is just when you keep thinking about it and live in it years and after years and year after years, like you don't give your choice the permission to step out from that pain.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't see it from that way. Like this is pain, this is suffering. The pain happened, I can't change it. I have to recognize it, forgive myself and move on. But if I just choose to keep repeating that, I can't know, this is what happened to me. Why not happen to you? Give me a list, like Mr. Brown say. Give me someone, name someone. I will.
Yeah.
So it is. You've been chosen. You've been chosen for that, and you should look at it as a blessing, and move forward and discover yourself and bounce. Live a bouncing. Be unsinkable. Don't sink with the trauma, with pain, with all that life throw at you.
We got to be punch me clowns.
Yeah.
Bang.
Bang. You can't engage me.
That's right. You just got to bounce back. And I think when you reference that, it is really important, Ellie, because we don't choose to be in physical pain.
Mm-hmm.
Right? People take drugs. They take like I'm just saying, like an Advil or something. Like if you've got a throbbing headache, most people will go and find something to cure the headache because they want to be rid of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you break your leg, my nephew is a big, huge. One of my nephews, he's not a skateboarder, but the scooters.
Mm-hmm.
So he loves scootering. Broke his ankle a few months ago. Scootering, right? Is he going to choose to stay in that pain? Of course not.
No.
2 years from now, is he going to go, no, I can't walk because I keep breaking my ankle? I don't want to get it fixed because I want the pain?
No.
Doesn't make any sense. And yet, as you said, when it comes to emotional trauma, when it comes to emotional pain, that's exactly what we do.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it myself. I beat myself up for years over some poor choices in my life. And you look back on it and you go, why would I do that? Well, because in the end, it becomes a part of how we define ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We've chosen to define ourselves as someone who's hurting. and it becomes a comfortable place for us to live in emotional pain. I mean, how many people are in really crappy relationships because of that fact? Right? They'll let themselves abuse another person and then be abused by that person. There's a serendipitous and synchronous and mutually dependent abuse going on with two people that should not be together.
Toxic, very toxic.
And yet, but that's the comfort zone, right? And as you said, we have to choose something different. But in order to do that, though, Ali, the biggest thing, people have to watch shows like yours. They have to watch shows like my own interview show called Words of Wisdom. They've got they've got to watch those. They've got to listen to people like Les Brown. They've got to
Words of Wisdom, Michael.
Yeah, Words of Wisdom. It's called Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That podcast.
It's a YouTube show.
Okay. Words of Wisdom. I will make sure to add it.
Yeah, sure. But that's what we have to do, because we're influenced by what we give permission to influence ourselves. So, like your great book by Mark Manson up there, right? We give other people the opportunity to influence ourselves, to give us a new perspective. Because that's the most powerful thing you can do for yourself. If you're struggling right now, if you're suffering in any way, if you're challenged on a financial level, on an emotional level, if you're scared right now with the COVID thing, find new perspectives. Be open and available to a new perspective. That could be, I look a certain way, but if I go here, you see a different part of my body, right? Like, shift the perspective. I like to say that I look relatively thin from the front, right? But if you see me from the side, it doesn't look quite so good, right? It doesn't look quite as tight. But that's just about shifting perspective, right? I stare at myself in the mirror and I do some flexing. I'm like, okay, it's pretty good noise going on here. I turn to the profile and I go, oh man, I got a lot of work to do, right? But that's just shifting perspective. So what I encourage people to do is to find shows like yours, Ali, to be open to the possibility that someone else's words can shake something new out of you. You don't have to stay stuck, but to get a different view of the world, you needed your son's words, his different perspective than yours, to say, gosh, Dad, why do so many people just chase money? What?
Perspective.
Perspective.
There's a saying, say, like, when you change the way you look at things will, what is that saying? It's like when you change the way you look at things you look at will change.
Yeah.
And so
I just quite simply, I say to all because I have 2 different companies, 4 different brands. And one of the things that I say is change your angle, change your life.
There we go. As simple as that.
Right. So if you're looking at something from this angle, shift the angle, and I'll bet you'll see something totally different.
Differently. I agree with that. 100%, my friend. We have 2 minutes left, my friend Michael. And, I really, really enjoy your wisdom you are sharing with us. Word of wisdom. And just my friend Michael, if you just want to give, I heard you have a nice book that you wrote, Unlock. Yep.
So the first version of the book is available in a digital format, but I am I'm doing a rewrite of the book.
Okay.
And what I did was, when COVID hit, I decided to give back. So I ran a bunch of people. I workshopped the book.
Okay.
So for a month, I would there was about 50 people that took it, two separate workshops. I did it for 2 months straight. And I workshopped the steps in the book, and change of perspective. I got a lot of really good information, like a lot of challenges that I didn't have that other people had. So I'm actually going to be in the winter of 2021. So coming up probably January or so, I'll be launching a new version of the book, influenced greatly by the workshopping of the steps in the book that I took. So if your audience wants a digital copy, then they can certainly reach out and I'll give them that. But just so you know, there is going to be a hardcover new version of the book coming out in the new year that will be updated. It'll be better. Like, let's be honest, it'll just be a better version of the book. So, but I'm certainly open to anyone if they're looking for coaching at all or anything like that. They can check out my website. I'm always looking for speaking opportunities, as you are too, I'm sure. So always looking to speak at different business or corporate events or private events, nonprofits, all that kind of stuff. So you can check me out at michaelbridgman.ca. So that's Michael, Michael, Bridgman, BRIDGMAN.ca.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. I will, and when the book is ready, just send me a message, Michael, and we'll share it with my audience. So if
Perfect.
we will, and you have a channel. You said it called Word of Wisdom.
So the channel is just Michael Bridgman. You can just look me up on YouTube. So my channel's right there. Words of Wisdom is that series, and you can find it also on my website. So I connect the YouTube channel to the website as well.
Perfect. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, my friend. It was really an amazing time. Flow by so quick, just full of energy, full of information, full of knowledge. It's amazing.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I much appreciate it. It was a great time.
It's my pleasure, my friend. And it was my honor to have you on my interview. And I'm looking forward to work with you more on different things in the future, my friend. Thank you very much,
Absolutely.
Michael. And have a wonderful day. And thank you very much to the audience that are watching. And enjoy this series, Ali's Dose of Inspiration. Take care, Michael.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Ciao for now.